Hello, and welcome you all today. So what we're going to do here is we are going to learn a lot about the one of the most powerful tool in Excel. It's a separate entity in Excel. It's a separate tool within Excel. It's called Excel's Power Query. And this one tool, if you master this, it's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you look at Excel, the way you use Excel, because it is such a powerful tool. And it is also used not only in Excel, but other Microsoft products like Power BI. So you're learning Power Query here, and at the same time, you will be expert in the Power BI Power Query because it's both of them are the same, exactly same. There is no difference at all. You might have heard about Excel's Power Query a lot, but before we dive deep into Excel Power Query, I want to talk more about it. Now, I've created this presentation specially for you. Now, this presentation will equip you with the knowledge and skills uh, that you want to learn about the Excel's Power Query. And we're going to embark a journey to master Excel Power Query, making your workflows more efficient and insightful. Now, before we dive deep into this, let's take a look at this more about Power Query. So, what is Power Query? Now, Power Query is a robust tool within Excel. It's a separate tool within it, and we are going to see that. It's a robust tool within Excel, and it is designed to transform and clean the data. So I've always spoken about it. When you get a raw file, 80% of your time goes into cleaning the data. Data analysis takes about how much? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, or maybe 20% of your time should go into analysis of data. You cannot analyze the data unless you clean it, unless it is structured correctly. And I've seen, and even I have on my early days, I've spent several hours on cleaning the data. And I used to get same file every day from the server. And I spent several hours on cleaning the data. And I was like, there should be something. I'm doing the same thing again and again every day. And there should be something that we can use to clean up this data automatically. And Power Query was the answer. At that time, I didn't know, but yeah, I learned it. So Power Query is the most powerful tool. When I say most, it's the most powerful to clean the data, uh, you know, to transform the data. Think of it as your personal trainer, and it is trying to help you get into shape. But not only that, with Power Query, you can connect a wide variety of data sources, and the list is huge, and we're going to see that. You can connect Excel file, of course, any database, any web page. Yes, you heard me right. You can pull the data directly from the web page, and we will be doing it momentarily. And some other format like JSON, it's a Java file, XML, Azure database, Salesforce, SharePoint, you name it, you have it. AWS, you can connect any data source. It also helps you automate many of the tedious tasks, data manually, and it save your time and effort. Say no to manual data cleaning. It's going to save you tons of your hours. And when you're done, ultimately, the goal is the Power Query helps you turn the raw data into meaningful insights and make it easy to understand. And you can take decisions how from your data you can draw meaningful conclusions. So it becomes very easy once you have data all cleaned up and ready to be analyzed. They do an analysis on the go, and you can easily connect to different data sources or an existing Excel spreadsheet or create a new one. Now, this is great for integrating data from multiple Excel files. You may have different files. You can connect all of them together. You don't need to copy paste or bring files into one workbook. You can connect directly all of them together. And Power Query can access data from popular databases like SQL Server or Access, and it allows you to pull in large data sets seamlessly. Power Query can extract data directly from web pages by specifying the URL and the table. You just select the URL, put the URL. If the website has a table, it will pull that up. It also supports importing data from file formats such as CSV, JSON, XML. So the idea here is it has a lot of flexibility while connecting to different data sources. And you may have different scenarios. Sometimes maybe you are getting data from Siebel or Oracle or maybe Salesforce. Your organization can send you data, can use different softwares. So you don't need to worry about connecting or worry about which data source will work in Excel or not. You can connect any data source. Even if that's a part, not a part, you can manually try to connect it. See if that works. Power Query has you all covered. You can filter your data to select specific rows based on criteria. Now, this is useful for narrowing down large data set to information you need. Now, when I talk about large data set, I'm not talking about maybe 100 rows or 200 rows or 500 rows or 1,000 rows, 10,000 rows. I'm talking about big data, maybe 100,000 rows, maybe 70,000 rows, 50,000 rows, 1,000 columns, 500 columns. So I'm talking about a large data set. If you pull that up in Excel, I don't know, but I might think that Excel might crash. So Power Query has you covered. It can handle large data set without without any challenge. And you can filter your data set specifically to the rows based on the criteria. Now, this is helpful to narrow down the large data set to just the information you need. You can sort, arrange rows in the ascending or descending in order to organize the data. And of course, you might say, okay, we can do that perfectly in Excel as well. Of course, I'm not against it, but yeah, you can. It's a feature in this is how you transform the data. And why would you sort the data in Excel? To clean it up, right? Yes or no? Why would you filter the data? To clean it up, to just to see the rows or data you want to see for the moment. Now, this is something they had merging. You can combine data from multiple tables based on common columns. The word that is very important here is the common columns. You need something in common. Now, this is essential for integrating related data sets. So we will be creating models. So there has to be something in common. We will see that in action, don't worry. Appending. You can add rows from multiple tables into single table, which is also helpful for consolidating data from different sources. For example, let's say you have different regions, and every region is sending you the data in the same format. So you can combine all of them together. You can append them into one single table and analyze it. And doing this manually maybe would take you some time, but doing it in Power Query will take you seconds. Let's say you have 10 states, 20 states, sending you data one by one, 10 to 20 different files. Power Query, 20 seconds. Excel, sometime, depending on how much expert you are. Now, there are some advanced Power Query features that I want to talk about is you can create new columns. If it is not there, you can manually create new columns in Power Query based on some calculations or transformations to enrich your data. You can apply logics to filter or manipulate data based on specific conditions, and you can add flexibility to your data transformations. You can group the data on common characteristics, which is useful for summarizing the data. Or you can also create different relationships across different tables from different sources, and it will help you it enhances your data analysis capabilities. For example, you may have one data source coming from one by country, and then you have some unique number over there, and then you have their GDP in a different table, population in a different table. So you can combine how you want to combine them together. So you can do a modeling over there. We will see it in action. Don't worry. It may sound tricky, but it's pretty easy once you do it. To get started, open Excel and then go to the Data tab. On the Data tab, at the far left, you have Get and Transform Data. This is a group which includes the option to launch Power Query. You may not see it here, launch Power Query. I don't see that. But once you click on Get Data, you will see a variety of data sources you can connect to, such as Excel files, databases, web pages, and more. Select the source you want to connect to and follow the prompts to import your data. I'm not going to do that because we're not connecting it right now. Now, after importing the data, the Power Query editor will open. This is where you can perform all the data transformations. Now, if we don't have a data, we don't have anything out there, but we can still launch Power Query editor by clicking on this. And of course, to get started, open Excel. Now, this is the Power Query editor. Now, once you click on launch Power Query, you will see this new window that will pop up. Now, this interface, this is where you can perform all your data transformation. Now, this interface includes several sections. Now, we have the ribbon with various transformation commands here, where we have queries. It will list all your queries, and you have a data preview here. You'll see the entire data. So let's go through the basic workflow. So the basic workflow is first you will import the data, and then you will apply transformations such as filtering rows, removing columns, changing data types. And you have all these tabs over there which can help you do that. And because there's no data, it's everything is grayed out because there's nothing to do. But once we pull the data, you would see all those getting activated. And finally, once you're done, you click on close and load, and it will load the data back into Excel. And this data preview pane, the entire pane is data preview pane. It shows you, it's give you a preview of your data, how that's going to load in Excel. For our practical example, let's say we have a CSV file. I'm going to close this one, or let me bring that here. And I'm going to open the Excel, a CSV file. So I'm going to click on File and open, browse. On your exercise folder, or in the, I'm going to share the link with you where you can download the files. I'm going to put the link in the chat so you can download the file. The first file I'm going to open is one GDP, which is a CSV file. And I'm going to click on OK, open. Or let's open the file from Power Query, from get and transform data. So let's go back to data, not opening it now, but it will cover two objectives here. So the first objective is how do we import the data from CSV file? We can simply click on from text to CSV. I click on that. And over here, you have it will open a dialog box where you have the files ready. Here it is. So I'm going to select on this file, 1-GDP, and import it. Now, once it's imported, it's going to show you something like this, gdp.csv. It's a CSV file, and it shows a preview of your data. This is how your data is going to look like. And let's load it. We have load, transform data, and cancel. You can select to load to a different sheet, but if you click on load, it will load directly on this sheet. So I'm going to load that. And here it is, and it has loaded the data. It says 230 rows loaded. Well, that's okay. Nothing wrong with it. Now we want to transform this data. Now we see there are tons of problems in this data. It's not right. We cannot do an analysis over here on this data. It doesn't have a header name. There are a lot of things to fix. So what we want to do is we go back here to Data tab and click on Get Data, and I'm going to launch the Power Query Editor. It is launch the Power Query Editor. Click on that, and I'm going to bring it here. Here it is, the Power Query Editor, and what here? And you see that. So it says GDP Power Query Editor. I'm putting it above Excel so you can see that we have an Excel in the background and we are seeing it. Now it's not going to do a live update, but here we have the Power Query is open and we can see the data out there and everything is now activated. First thing first, we can rename the table if needed. Over here at the far right, we have a name GDP. If you want, you can rename it. It already has a good name, GDP. And that's okay. You can see the column names here, column 1, 2, 3. But don't change any of those. If you want to rename the entire table, you can do it right here. Or you can simply right click on here and you can rename it. And you can do that, nothing wrong with it. I'm not going to do it, but if you want, you can do it. And now the Power Query editor is a separate tool that I told you in Excel. And once you open it, you'll see the queries pane here. On the right, you'll find the settings for the selected query, where we have the properties. You can have multiple queries in a model. So just select the one to view its settings. So right now we only have one, but you may have more. You can also add a description to your query by clicking on all properties here. Click on all properties, and you can type in the description if you want. Maybe this is the GDP data taken from Wikipedia. I'm going to type it here. This is the GDP data taken from Wikipedia. Maybe I have different queries for GDP from different sources. I may want to name it. Maybe I don't forget it later. So I'm going to click on OK. And it just goes away. Nothing wrong with it. Now, as you modify your model, you might want to update the description. Now, the query editor keeps a running history of the steps taken. Now, these were initial steps taken by Excel, like identifying the data source. And if you know where the data came from, you can click on the source, and here you have this file detail, where the file is coming from, where the data is there. And now we didn't do any of such step here. Excel does that for you, like identifying the sales source data and change type. Now, these are the initial steps done by Excel. Our goal ultimately on this today is to create a list of 25 countries with the largest GDP. That's what we want to do here. Here we have 230 countries, but we want to create a list of 25 countries whose GDP is at the top, maximum GDP to minimum, descendingly. And we will do all the work in the query editor. So the first thing first you might notice here is look at the column name here. Now we have column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if I scroll to the right, we have column 8 and 9. That's going to be a problem here. Actually, my headers are in the first row. Now, for some reasons, Power Query didn't identify all these as headers, but that's okay. So, but we can fix that. Nothing wrong. Maybe because the raw file had column name across 2 rows. Yeah, so it's a rule. When you create a table, you have a column name spread across only one row. Now, for example, over here, column 4 has IMF 5 as subscript or superscript, 5 and estimate. Here we have a superscript here. So Power Query wasn't sure how to handle this. So we will fix it, don't worry. First, we will use the first row as headers. At the very top, you see in the transform group. Now, these are also the groups here. Every group has a name, remember, same as Excel. And this is the formula bar. So for now, we are not going to use it, but take a look at this. First thing first, use first row as headers. I'm going to click it and boom, here it is. Immediately. Now, it didn't solve all of the problem, but we still have, I'm a 5. Now, notice what happened here. Now, if you have a same column name, it will automatically suffix something to this. For example, I'm a 5-1, World Bank 661, 6-2, 7, and over here we see 7-3, Now we want to fix that over here. I'm going to rename it. So I'm going to select it, double click it. You can simply select it and rename it. I'm going to type not the estimate, just EST would work. Estimate. So I know that this is estimate. This is year. I'm going to change it to year. Same I'm going to do it for World Bank. World Bank estimate. And here it is. World Bank year. CIA estimate. CIA year. That's all. And that should be it. Now we have updated the names out there. Now for all these, we have done that. Next, we will remove the first row. Let's scroll to the left. Now this row, we don't need that. We can simply remove the first row. Over here, we have two options, reduce rows. Keep rows. Now I can keep the rows that I want, or I can remove the rows. So I'm going to remove the rows. Now it says what do you want here? Remove top row, bottom row, alternate rows, duplicates, blank row, errors. What do you want to remove? I say I want to remove top rows. It will not do anything, don't worry. It will ask me, how many rows do you want to remove? So I would say I want to remove first row only. So I'll type in number 1 and keep an eye there on this applied steps here. Now, whatever you do is getting recorded here. And then click OK. And here it says remove top row. Now, each action that you do is added to the steps to the right. So you can easily undo or modify the steps if needed. Remember, there is no redo. You can undo, you can delete the step, but you can't bring it back. So if you have deleted a step that you didn't want to, you may need to do it again. There is no control Y. Redo doesn't work. There's no redo. For example, if I want to undo this remove top row, I can simply click on this X and it will bring it back. Now I can't redo it. I can simply do it again, remove top row. And I'm going to click on 1 here and OK. Now you have an option to delete, the previous options here, steps. If you want to modify your query by removing steps higher up, it will ask you, it will give you a very strong message here. So let's say I want to remove this. Let's say I want to remove this one, change type 1. Because this is not a contiguous step, And this is going to damage my further steps because I'm going back in the time machine and changing the history. So if I delete it, want to undo this, it will give you a very strong message. Are you sure you want to delete this step? Deleting this step may affect subsequent steps, which could cause your query to break. Now, of course, I'm not going to do that, but it gives you a very strong message. And of course, if you delete it, you can see Excel will not stop you. Excel will not say, hey, what are you doing? Don't do it. Excel will do it ultimately. It will obey the order. But you want to be very sure that you sure want to do that because subsequent steps will get damaged. So I'm not going to do it, but very strong message here, very strong warning. Now, this actually is helpful because it prevents accidental deletions, but you can still do it if you need to. I don't want to do that. Now let's fix the data types. Now you know that I've in several of these trainings and almost every session I have mentioned that the basic rule of Excel is numbers on the right, text on the left. Basic rule of thumb has to go always. Now, but we don't see that happening here. What we see here is we have text on the left, which is good. We still have numbers on the left. Why? I'm gonna scroll it to the right. These are all numbers. They should be on right. Yes, yes or no? These are all numbers. Shouldn't be it on right? These are all whole numbers. Now, let's say, for example, IMF estimate here. These are numbers, but it says somehow it is not on the right side. So we want to change it. So let's go to the transform tab. And over here, detect data type. In any column group, we have detect data type. Now, if I want to detect the data type, I'm telling Excel or Power Query, detect what kind of data is this? And it says it's a text. And I'm confused. Eh? Are you sure? I see numbers there, but it says it's a text. So it says text here at the top, you see. So I'm going to change it to number here. Which number? Is it a decimal number? No. It's a currency? No. It's a percentage? No. It's a whole number. I'm going to select a whole number. Now it's not a binary. We have tons of choices here. It's a whole number. I'm going to click on whole number. And it says, now again, it's a warning message here. Now, when you apply this change, it might throw some errors here. The IMF estimate column is mostly numbers, but some are text and blanks. When you apply this change, and uh, now it says that change column type. Now the selected column has an existing type conversion. It says, would you like to replace the existing conversion or preserve the existing conversion and add the new conversion as a separate step? Now it's very interesting to see here. What is going on is a Power Query is saying that, okay, you want to change the text, the column type or data type in this column. But I see that I've already converted it and I see that it's a text. So you want me to forget it, what I've done and change it, override this to, number, or you want to create a different step out there. And almost every time, whenever you encounter this box here, always add a new step. So if in case if anything goes bad, you can obviously go back. So I'm going to add a new step here, and here it is, change tag 3. Now, boom, we got some errors here. And you might have thought why it was reading as a text here. Now, the IMF estimate column is mostly numbers, but some has text, some blanks. So it throws some error because there are some values like NA, which are numbers. Why we get that? Because if I close it, you take a look at this. There are some NAs. NA is a number? No. That's why it's saying that, okay, that is the reason it shows as a text. If I push forcefully as a number, it will throw me an error. Add a new step. Because NA is not a number. Now, you might say, okay, if these are not numbers, we can remove them. Now, if we choose to remove these errors over here, if we choose to remove these errors, we can still do it, but it will remove all the data with errors, which isn't the ideal, which is something that we don't want, which we don't want. We can remove errors and there are 32 of them. It will remove all those. We don't want another. For example, NA entries from IMF, for example, over here. We have American Samoa. Now, and IMF don't have this data, but maybe a CI has this data, so we want to keep that. That's interesting. So let's fix the other years as well. Over here, I'm going to change it to number. And we got some errors. Same goes with this one. And all of them instead. In fact, I'm going to change it, all of them, because all of them are actually numbers here. Numbers, CI year, numbers. And here it is. Now, if we take a look at this, our data is set up correctly. We have text, we have numbers. And you can see the data type at the top here. It says text, it is number, whole number. Now, if I scroll to the right, now CI doesn't have this problem because they may be tracking some territories that, or some countries or some states that CI or World Bank weren't tracking. With these changes, maybe um, we have done these changes. So we have updated this. Now we want to, this is our GDP data model here. And our goal is, remember, to create 25 countries, top 25 countries by GDP per capita. And we are encountering some error. This data isn't ready for that right now. Now we want to select here which data set we want to use. We have IMF estimate, we have World Bank, we have CIA. And I would say you can select either one of it. You can select IMF, you can select World Bank or CIA. And almost, if you want, if you're given a chance, you would say, okay, we want to use the CIA because it contains almost every country, every state, sorry. So you can pick up anything you like. I'm going to pick up, of course, let's keep it World Bank because we want to see some errors. If everything is correct, what will I teach you? Right. So I want to pick up a data set which has some errors. So I can teach you how to, you know, fix those errors. So I'm going to select the columns here. Now there are two options to remove the columns. If everything is right, what will I teach you? Ultimately, if everything is right, okay, we are done with 25 rows. That's it. Yep, we're good to close. But if it has errors, I can then tell you how we can fix it. So this is the reason I'm not picking up CIA. Almost that's ideal. If my goal was only to create 25 rows, I would have done that. But my goal here is to teach you. So I'm going to pick up something else, maybe a World Bank. That should be doing. Now I can delete, F go to Home tab. Now I can remove the column. I can simply remove the column. And, or I can select the columns that I want to keep and I can select and remove other columns. Now, for example, if I click on remove column, it will go away. IMF estimate on. Or I can select the columns and I can then click on remove other columns. So the other columns will, the selected columns will be kept and the other columns will be gone. So I'm going to select the column that I want to remove here. CIA estimate in here. Yeah. And remove columns. Here it is. And this is look good. This is fine. Now we have some errors in World Bank. And at the top, you see the green line, which is from the left to the right to the all across. That shows you that everything is fine. If you hover your mouse on the green line, it says everything is valid. Hmm. It says everything is valid. If you see red means there are errors, dash means they are blanks. So there are some errors. So we have 27 errors. What do we do with those errors? Because we don't have any data out there. Let's get rid of those. Select here. So we can remove the errors. So I'm going to click on remove errors and boom, errors are removed. Now this has reduced the number of rows. I want to keep 25 rows, but still it's not ready. Now, in the country or territory name, what we see here is we have Afghanistan, Albania, Algeria, and there's a parenthesis, there's a more in bracket, which could be because we might have imported data from our software, and more could be the hyperlink that was there, and it also got imported at the same time. So we want to get rid of this more. And in Excel, if I wanted to do that, I could have used either the flash fill or text to column. So again, same thing over here. I'm going to do it here in this, but let's see how fast it is. I'm not using the keyboard. I'm just using my mouse and I'm doing it very slowly for you. But if you want to do that, if you're once you're trained, you will simply go and tuck, 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 tuck. It's all cleaned. It's so fast. I'm doing it slowly so to keep the pace. I'm not going too fast. I'm going not too slow. I'm just keeping up the pace so you can actually follow me and do it, along with me. So I'm going to click on transform and over here, I'm going to extract. I want to extract the data before before these parentheses. And in the transform, in the text column, because it's a text, I have text column activated. If I select a number, I would have number column activated. But let's stick to this one first. Now I can want to extract the data out there. Maybe a particular length, maybe it's all 5 characters. We could have done that easily. Maybe the first character, first name, last name, range, text before limiter, text after delimiter, text between delimiters. I can pick up more separately into different column. But I want to extract the text before delimiter. And make sure you select it right, because I've seen several people make mistakes here. They will select a wrong option here. It's a text before delimiter. Whatever the delimiter you have, it will extract the text before that, not after. And what is the delimiter? Of course, my delimiter is what? A parenthesis or a bracket, whatever you want to call it. And then click OK. Boom. I'm on. And you see how fast it is? Now, it has removed the more text from our database, dataset. We could also parse this into multiple columns, breaking it Afghanistan and more into different columns and then removing the column. So it would be an additional step, maybe 2 additional steps. But I think that's just fine. We solved our purpose. Now, these are the text, since we have on the text column here, let's take a look at these text transformations that are available here. Now we have split column. We can split the column by delimiter, number of character, position. You can change the lowercase to uppercase or uppercase to lowercase. No, if you do that, here it is, nothing. We can split. Splitting is not working because it is on split. Digit to non-digit, non-digit to digit. We can change the format. We can put it into all lowercase or all uppercase. Here it is. We can put it, change the format, capitalize each word, and here it is. You see. How about trim? If there are leading spaces or trailing spaces, we can trim it. Let's do it. I don't know if it was there, but good idea. You can clean it. I'll say what clean. I will remove the unnecessary spaces out there. You can add a prefix. You can add a suffix immediately, like you know, Sharad dash or your name dash. You can do exactly something like this. Now, because this is a text, you see text column is activated. Numbers are deactivated right now. But you've selected numbers here. Now the text is not activated. Numbers are activated here. You can have information is odd, is even, is round up, trigonometry, scientific, and standard, add, plus, minus. App, just click it, it will do it. Now we want to actually, our goal was to create top 25 rows, top 25 countries. That was our goal. Now, doing it right now, we can do it. Nothing wrong with it right now. We can remove or keep the rows, keep 25 rows. But this is not right. We have this sorted by alphabet. So we want to make sure we sort it by the World Bank estimate. So I'm gonna select this and sort descending. Pretty easy, same. And we have all these countries out there. Maybe you want to select top 25 or top 30, top 50, whatever you want, whatever your goal is. Now you can remove the rows, you can keep the rows. I want to keep the top rows. How many? Top 25. Click on that. Boom. We have top 25 rows here. Now with these, all the changes, now I think our data set is all cleaned up and ready to go. We can simply go to the home tab. We're already on the home tab. Now it's time. Everything is done. We applied so many steps. We did that. And now it's time to load the data. So I'm going to click on close and load. And it will close this Power Query. And it will load the data onto my Excel. And here is the Excel that you see. And you'll see the magic happening. And I'm going to click on close and load. And boom, here it is. And now we have only 25 rows of data. And it's all set beautifully. Of course, this is a table and you have all the table design. I'm not getting into all this because this is not the chapter that we want to talk about right now, but you can have all these options. It's just a table, just a table. So now we have our 25 rows of data for further use, further analysis that we want to do. And if you want to save this file, yeah, you can. We can save this file. Let me save this file. GDP training, or I would say GDP top 25. And I'm going to save it to my folder here and click on save. And this is saved. And I'm going to close this. And we are back to our desktop. Now we have learned about this. We have reduced the rows. We have did a lot of uh, uh, you know, transformation. But it's not over yet. We got several options here to transform the data. So with this, I'm going to open Excel again, blank workbook. Now we saw how we can pull the data from a CSV file or a text file. But let's take a look at the get data option here, get and transform data. If you click on get and data, you have tons of choices to get the data from a file. Here it is. You can put the data from Excel workbook, from a text CSV that we did, XML. See, the ultimate idea is the Power Query works on three different principles. ETL, it's extract, transform, and load. So first thing first, you extract the data, you transform it, and you load the data. Plain simple. ETL, remember the keyword. ETL, extract, transform, load. So first you extract the data. It can be any data source. You have tons of choices. You have folder, you have PDF, you have SharePoint, you have databases, SQL, Oracle, IBM, Postgre, Sybase, Teradata, SAP HANA, Azure database, SQL, Blob, Table. So many choices. HD Insights, SharePoint, Power Platform, Dataverse, SharePoint, Exchange, Dynamics, Salesforce, Table, SharePoint, ODBC. From picture, yes, you can import the data from picture. And how we want to do that? You can simply click on from picture from a file. Or if you have copied a picture, you can simply, how many times it happens you have a picture data in the picture and you want to import the data, you can simply copy the picture and pull the data from the picture. Let's see it in action. It's very interesting to watch. You can then later combine the queries, merge and append. We will see that later. But let me show you this very interesting point here from data from picture. And I have a picture here. Let me select. Okay, here I have a data in the picture here. And I click on import. And it's pulling the data from the picture. And here it is. It's a picture. And it says, okay, you can review it. So let's review this data. And it has read the data. It says, is this order ID? The data in pink means it needs attention. So let's review it. Is this order ID? Yes. Is this number right? 506390, here is the number. Yes. Is this right? I'm going to put a space in there, geomart. Is this right? Yes. Is this right? Yes. Is this right? Yes. 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 It should be coffee powder. Yeah, that sounds about right. And you accept it and you insert the data. It's warning message again. Very important warning message. You are responsible for validating the accuracy of all data. And Excel says, okay, I imported the data. You checked it. It's all your headache. I got nothing to do. It's all your baby now. So you are responsible. With this statement, if you click on insert data, I mean, Excel will not take any responsibility now. You can't go back to tell Microsoft that you imported incorrect data. You simply click on insert data and here it is. I'm gonna best fit it. Let me zoom in a bit so you can see it. Here it is. How about this one? And here we go. So we have successfully imported the data here. It has nothing to do with Power Query, but just an important tool that you should know. You can get data from various sources, you can get from the database also, but maybe sometimes what happens, people will simply click a picture and send it to you. So you should know how to import the data from a picture. It's very, very helpful and very accurate, highly accurate. It got way much accuracy out there. And we can see that in action. Now, one question always comes to me. Will it also read the handwriting data if I write it? Now, it depends on how good is your handwriting. If you give me a doctor prescription and tell Excel to read it, I don't think that's going to work, right? So be careful with that. Your handwriting should be neat and clean, not a bad handwriting. I didn't have a very good handwriting, so my writing is even 5 minutes later, even I find it hard to read. What did I wrote? I don't remember. So anyway, so we saw how we pull the data from picture and other stuff. But there are other ways also where you can pull the data. Let's say I want to pull the data from a website. We spoke about it, right? So let's see that in action here. So I'm going to create a new sheet here. I'm going to delete this. It's not required. So we want to pull the data from a website here. And I'm going to pull a website. Let's see. Hmm, From Wikipedia. Let's see. This is the data. This is the Wikipedia page. And here is the data. Here's the state-wise population data. So I want to pull this data here. I'll simply select this link. This is not my data. And this is a Wikipedia data. This is a link. And you can pull up any data. I'm not going to use the link because links can often change. I'll not provide the link. So I put in the query India population data, Wikipedia. You can search it on Wikipedia. You will get the link. So I'm going to close this. Now I have copied the link. So I'm going to go to data tab from web. It is. And it says just provide the URL. And it's a basic. Now you would go to advanced if your website requires you to, put a username or password. You can use advanced options here. But I'm going to click on basic and then click on OK. It will take its sweet time and it says, boom, load it. Now we got a navigator pane here and it's loaded so many tables out there. Wow. There were so many tables on this Wikipedia page. And there are two pages here, two tabs here, table view and the web view. How about this table? And you can see a web view as well, how the website looks. I'm going to click on table. Now this table, do I need to import? How about this one? Yep, this looks good. And it also says suggested table. Now, Excel is saying that, okay, I think you should see this. Yep, this suggestion is right. No, 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 nope. And there are some HTML codes that we want to use and display text. I don't need that. But I think this is what I'm going to use here. And you have an option to select multiple tables. Like if your workbook has or any data source has multiple files and multiple sheets, you can click on select multiple tables and you can pull the data. Select multiple sources. In this example that we have, it's only the one sheet. Click on that, click on load, and here we go. It's creating a query. Here it is. And it's little problems here. Let's go to Power Query Editor. So I'm going to click on Data tab and get data. Launch Power Query Editor. Here it is. It has come up here. Here it is. Now we see here the Power Query Editor. Now we have all the list of states, and you know what we want to do. And here it says the source, the extracted table from HTML. Who did all these steps? From Excel did all these steps for us. It didn't do any of that. So promoted headers, change type. We didn't any one of those. And the first thing we want to do is, of course, let me pull it a little up. Here it is. This should be good. BC. We got so many of those. Density, urban population. Quite a lot of data here. The first thing is very clear. We want to look at this data. Of course, I'm also looking at this data for the first time here. So the one thing is very clear. We don't need the first row. So we can remove the row. Remove first row. It is gone. And let's keep a goal in mind. Let's bring up top 10, states. top 10 states by population. That should do it. Now the last row contains the total. We don't need that. Remove rows. Remove bottom rows. Bottom one row. Total is gone. Now this population should be a number. It is text because there is some hyperlinks. Hmm. Now what we want to do is we want to remove this parentheses, this solid bracket C. These are numbers. These are not numbers. Why these are not numbers? It should be number. There should not be any problem. Let's take a look at these transform. Although we don't need these columns, but let's see why they are not numbers here. Hmm. These are percentages. What was that? Minus 0.6. Very interesting. Okay, great. So let's take a look at this. It's a minus 0.6, right? Nagaland has a growth of negative 0.6. But what's wrong with negative? Power BI shouldn't have this Power Query shouldn't have a problem to handle negative numbers. All numbers are positive, and Power Query shouldn't have a problem to handle negative numbers. What happened here? Why it is not recognizing this as a minus? Well, if you look closely here, this is not a minus. This is, I'm gonna replace this, replace value. If you take a look at this closely, this is not minus. This is a minus would look like this, a small dash. This is called an M dash. This is an M dash. This is not a minus. So I'm gonna find this and replace it with this. And here it is. Now you see negative it's, and I'm gonna click on detect data type, and here it is. Boom, everything gone to the right. So that minus wasn't minus at all. It was a M dash. So you might encounter because you're getting data from different sources. Every source is different. So okay, how about this one again? There we have a B here, so that's why I know. So how about this one? What is wrong here? There shouldn't be a problem here. Let's click on detect data type. Here it is. How about this one? Here it is. Go. Uh-huh. What's wrong here? 24, 25. These are not numbers. Numbers always on the right. Even if I click detect data type, it won't work. Now let's extract the data. Text before delimiter. Would that work? I don't know, but let's take a look. In the bracket. Here it is. Gone. Detect data type. All numbers. And same is here. Extract. Text before delimiter. Delimiter is dash. Okay. Detect data type. All numbers. Now, this is the first order of business. Whenever you open Power Query, the first order of business is your numbers column should be on the right and your text column should be on the left, period. That should be the first order of business. First thing you will do this, numbers on the right, text on the left, period. Everything else goes second. So again, same problem here. What do we need? We want to ultimately remove these columns. That's okay, but your data should be right. And how much time does it take? Boom. One click and gone. And everything else, looks right to me. Now over here, why does it say dollar, dollar, dollar? S, is it S or dollar? Is it? It's S, I think. Yeah, it's S25. So we don't need that. Extract text before delimiter. Um, which bracket is this? Okay, parentheses. Very hard to see. Direct data type. Here it is. Now data is perfectly fine, but the point is we don't need all of these columns yet. Let's keep it. And I'm going to sort this. This has maybe already been sorted here by population, but yeah. So we saw how we transform our data, live data that we transform the data into different, clean up the data. Very fast, very easy. Any kind of a data that we have. And we did so many steps in just a matter of seconds. Doesn't take too much. And of course, when you're ready, I'm going to click go back here, close and load. Here it is, loading, and here we go. And you might say, okay, the population is still showing on the left. Why is that? Let's see. We want to go back to Power Query Editor. Let's go back, click on data, get data. Launch Power Query Editor, and here we go. Get data, launch Power Query Editor, and here we go. Sorry, there it is. Now population is on the left. Yeah, we want to change that. I thought we did it. Edit data type. Here it is on the right. And yeah, everything else look good. I'm gonna go back to home and close and load. If we load again, let's see now. Here it is. Now we got all our data in correctly in the format that we want. Of course, these are can be formatted as percentage over here. Nothing wrong with it. I'm gonna click on another sheet here. Let's take a look at some of the more data out there. Now I'm going to pull up the data from an Excel workbook. So I go to data, get data from file from Excel workbook. Click on that, and I'm selecting this table, country population. Click on that, open. Oh, there are several tables out there. We got different uh, what do we say, continents that has we have the population of. We have Africa, we have Antarctica, we have Asia, we have Europe, North America, Oceania, population by country, and population growth. And this is South America. Now what we want to do here is I'm going to pull up all these tables out there. So I select multiple items and select the tables. Now these at the bottom, this what is the difference between both of these? Now these are tables, and how do you know these are tables? They have blue header, and it looks like a table, so they have a blue header. So whatever is in blue header, which means that it is formatted as a table in your raw file. If it is not formatted, it will again at the bottom. These are the list. These contain the same information, but it is not a table. So you can pick, you can use either one of it. Now you might ask, okay, what should I use, the table or a list? You can use either one of it. Nothing, there is no harm. I would suggest if you have a table already, use the table. So I'm going to select all of these country population, and I'll select the country population and population growth perhaps later, not now, but I'm going to select these sheets, these tables rather, all of them, and then click on OK. And once you have loaded it, you might say, okay, how do I load it again? Same option. Go back to get data, Excel, and you can load the data. And of course, I'm going to click on load data, and it will start to load the data. All these, uh, tables will get loaded here. I'm going to click on get data, launch Power Query Editor. Sorry. Here we have Power Query, and now we have Africa population. We have Antarctica, we have Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania, and South America. And all of them look identical. We have flag column, name column, capital, status, key column. Hmm. Hmm. All of them looks the same. Now what we want to first do here is, I don't need this flag column and key column. It should be on the far left. So first thing, two steps I want to do here is first flag column is not required. And I think status is also not required, right? Or why do we need status here? Yeah, so we don't need flag column. We don't need status column. I can remove these columns. And this key column, I need to move this to the far left. So I'm going to right click, move to the beginning. It is this place. And now we want to do the same thing for all these continents. Status and flag, I don't need. This should be to the beginning. Same thing for Asia. We don't need that. Key column should be to the beginning. So we want to do that because we want to make sure we all the columns are identical, column header are identical. So it's going to help us in merging them and appending the data, creating one single query with all the information that we need. So we are on a path to build that. And this key column should be moved to the beginning. North America, this is move column. Move this column to the beginning. Oceania. Move. And here it is, South America. Move to the beginning. Here it is. Now all these column looks same to me. We have data across all the columns here. Now these are just the names and their capitals. Name of this country and their capital. And you need to ask yourself, do you actually need capitals? And the data is quite ready out here. Now we can see that. And there are no errors. If you see the green lines to the far at the top to the all across, it means that there are no problem with this. Now this is the power. Now we have all these regions out there. We have the key number, name, and capital. And I have all those population and all those continents out there. So the first thing we want to do is we see all of them are alike. They are identical. Now the question would always come to your mind, if they're identical, why are we keeping all those separately? I mean, we could keep them all together in one table, and that's a brilliant idea. But before we want to do that, I want to add one more column out there. So in Africa, I'm going to go to add column and custom column. And the column name would be, let's call it continent. And text would be, this is Africa. So we put in Africa, no syntax, click OK, and we got Africa. Antarctica, continent. Because we're typing the text, so it has to be in double quotes. And then we have Asia. Europe. We're going to do it for all those regions, all those continents. And you'll understand in a moment why we are doing that. Continent, North America. Then we have Oceania. And then we have South America. Continent. Because we're typing the text, so it has to be in double quotes. And then we have Asia. Europe. We're going to do it for all those regions, all those continents. And you'll understand in a moment why we are doing that. Okay, brilliant. Now we have all those continents with the name on that. And if I want to, and if you notice, all those have they're identical. They have the same headers up there. So this question would always come to your mind: why we have this 7? Why can't we create only 1? So we want to do that. Let me pull it here. So I'm gonna first I'm going to right click on that and click on duplicate, and I'll rename it to all continents. Well, our all continents contain only Africa. Where are all rest of the continents? And we want to bring more rows from different continents into this one, so we are going to append that. So I go to Africa is already there because we've started with Africa, not because it's first in order, but because maybe the humanity started from Africa. So we're going to start with Africa. Let's move on to Antarctica, and I go to all continents, and I go to Home tab in Append Queries. I click on Append Queries. It says table to append. Which table you want to put it at the bottom here? And it's a concatenate rows from two tables into single table, and that's exactly what we want to do. Antarctica, and click OK. And if I scroll down, here we go. We got 4 regions in Antarctica now. And same thing again, we want to do for Asia. And now you'll see we'll have Asia at the bottom. And you don't have to do it all one by one. You can simply go to Append Queries and then select on 3 or more tables. And then I'll select Europe, North America, Oceania, South America, and boom. And now we have all of them here, Asia, Europe, North America. Now our all continents contain actually all continents here. And if I want to count how many rows are there, I can simply go to count rows. Where is that? Yeah, here it is, count rows. 269. And you have to get back. Let me bring back the query settings. We can simply, what happened here? Yeah, count rows. Simply undo that. And now what we want to do here is we want to sort this by ascending, and you'll notice a problem here. Now we have 1, 1, 1, 1 for each of these continents, and that's going to be a problem. We need a new key column, and I'm going to remove this. You don't need that. And I go to add column, and now we can add an index column here. Now we can start an index column from 0, from 1, or maybe like a hotel room number 101, and from 100 or 2000, or but we want to start it from 1, and because we can't have 0 out there. And boom, we got an index column here. An index is always suited on the far left, so I'm going to move it to the beginning. And now we have the index column to the far left here, and we have all the continents out there. And now this question, you would need to answer on by yourself that do you actually need all those continents now? I don't think so. Why do we need them? Because we have all the data out there. We have created all these other continents here. And now if I don't need all these different queries, you can simply select all of them, and we can delete them. Deleting query cannot be deleted. It's being referred by the query. Yeah, all continents. Yeah. So if you try to delete it, because it's taking data from there, it says you cannot do that. Let's click on close and load. And now we have all continents here. 269 rows loaded. I'm going to right click on that one and load to this table. I'm here. Click OK. And it will start to load the data out there. And we have all the name, region, capital, and the continent. So I'm going to pull another file. If you want, we can go and start a new Excel. I think that's a good idea. If you want, you can save it. If you don't want, you can simply close it and exit. But let's see, we had some data out there, no? So let me go back to from file, Excel workbook, entry pops. There were some tables which we didn't import it. So let's take a look at those. Select multiple options, population, country, and population growth. Let's select them, go to load. In the same file, I've pulled up the rest of the 2 tables. As they have been loaded now. Let's go to Power Query. So click on Launch Power Query Editor. And over here. Now population growth and population country and population growth out there. And is this population by country? We have some key column. ranking, and then we have population growth. These should be all numbers. Why they're on the right, on the left? Should be on the right. So click on this column and let's click on detect data type. Okay, it's worked. And when you have text in the column, you'll see ABC. When you have a decimal, you'll see 1.2. When you have a number, you'll see 1, 2, 3. And when you have a percentage, it doesn't show here. But when you have binary, you have true, false, Boolean. We have text. You have duration, date, time, time zone. You can have any number of item in there. And over here, let's see what we have. We have a date. This is not a date. If it has to be a date, it should see a calendar. And let's take a look. This is percentage. Let's sort it by descendingly. China, India, 19%, 17%. So let's filter it out. Let's take a list of only top 10 countries or top 20 countries, whatever. And let's say we don't need this key column. Why do we have a key column at the far left? And then it says 2. Where is 1? We don't have 1 out there. I think we can get rid of this. Source, maybe I don't need source. Date and the actual population, and then we have country. And over here we have country and population growth. You see the stack column, stack bar chart here. It shows different errors out there. And now if I go to view tab, let's take a look at this, how to understand the columns here. In the view tab, let's select this column here. Let's go to column profile. Column profile will tell you the statistics and value distribution. You have a count, you have number of errors. And if I have a country, it will tell me count and errors and empty and distinct and unique and minimum and maximum. Well, I got this number out there. And now you have all the different statistics out there, even on standard deviation, average, unique, distinct. And in the value distribution, you can copy these statistics if you want. You can send it to somewhere. In the values distribution, you can maybe copy it, filter it, or replace the values. So you can do whatever you want here. You can group by sign or by priority. So different options here. In the column distribution, it will show you a histogram kind of a chart, which shows the distinct and the unique numbers out there. In column quality, it will tell you how many of those cells are valid, how many of them have an error, or how many of them are empty. You can, like over here, you can remove errors, you can keep duplicates, a lot of our choices out there that we can choose from. Pretty much self-explanatory. We got 3 automatic steps: source, it identified the source, change the navigation, change the type, identified the column type and change them. Power Query has done that for us. We have some problems here. We have 15% of them are error. And if I scroll down, what is the error out there? These are all numbers. Here we are. Why do we have an error? Let's cancel that. And let's see, do we have an error? These are, okay. So these are all negative numbers. So we can have negative numbers. The growth rate can be negative. But why does it show as an error? Power BI is so smart, it can handle negative numbers. Why is not able to handle negative numbers? Because it's minus, it shows minus. But if you take a look closely, this is not minus. This is an M dash. I'm going to click on replace values. Keep an eye. Replace values with this dash to minus, which is actually a shorter dash. This is a big dash. Click OK. And now let's scroll down. It says all of them are valid, no errors. And now you see a shorter dash. And now we can go to detect data type. And here it is. All of them are fine. Now we have country here. We have country here. And I'm going to take out. And monospace, somebody asked me, so monospace is, so it will only change the text format like this. If you like this, you can keep it. Otherwise, you can, whatever makes you happy. Let's keep both the top 10 continents in both these tables. Let's say we have all continents and we want to put population out there in this. and as per these names of the continents. And for this occasion only, on this, no, this won't work. So let's put a population out there. Let's merge these queries out, right? So we want to do a merge out there. We'll combine these three tables. We have all continents, we have population by country, we have population growth rate. We want to put population, we have world percentage of world population, date. I don't think we need date. We can remove it, or we will decide what to do. But population growth, we don't need this key column. Let's merge these two columns first. So all continents with population country. In fact, in all continents, we already have all continents. So why do we need all continents here? Won't be beneficial. Country by population growth rate and percentage. Okay, let's do this. Let's merge these two tables, population country and population growth rate. So, and we'll go to the home tab, and then let's click on merge queries. We have merge queries or merge queries as new. We can do that. Certainly, we will do merge queries as new. Let's create a new one. Let's not mix both of them together. Now we have population country, and we can select what's the other table here, and population growth. Now we have two tables out there, and we are merging both of them together, the left one and the right one. And we will want to select which column will be selected with which column, and we have left outer. So we got different options here, and this is very interesting, the concept of cardinality. So over here, we got different joints here. It's like a conjunction. So you use conjunction or the joints. There are different joints, like a left outer joint. The left outer joint, you will choose when you want to make sure you have all the items from the first table and the matching items from the second table. Right outer means you have all the items from the second table, but the matching from the first. Like for example, you say I want all the columns of these, all the items from this table, and whatever match should come. Or later you say, okay, no, we want population country here. So better would be don't change the table, but do the right outer instead of left outer. Then you have a full outer. It would say all rows from both, match or no match. It will show you both, all rows. Inner will show you only matching rows. Rest it will discard. Left and die means rows only in the first, and right rows only in the second. So let's take a look at this. So in the left outer, it says 219 out of 244. We got 244 rows out there, and it is matching only 219. So the new table that new query that we are creating will only have 219 matches. How about right one? Again, it has 233, but it will match only 290, of course. And full outer means 244. It's a section 219 of 244 from the first and 219 of 233 from the second. Inner can only show you the inner 219 from the only 219 rows. And I think this is one that we might need here. 219 excludes 219, so of 244 rows. So whatever remain will show you. Exclusions will just go away. So maybe we want inner. And there's this interesting option here. Use fuzzy matching to perform a merge. Let's say you had some spelling mistakes or some extra space out there. So Power Query will try to fuzzy match those. So you can keep it, or sometimes it doesn't match. So fuzzy matching options, and you got different options in there. I tend to stay away from it because it can still cause some problems. So and click OK. And now we have merged one. And first thing first, I'm going to give a name here. What do we name? Let's say we want to name here all continents and all countries and population. Well, that should be good. And these are inner matches, so we will only have how many? 219, right? Count rows. 219. Here it is. I'm going to close this one. Rank. So this rank is I don't know, but let's make it descendingly. China and India. Yeah, this is fine. I don't think we need date, so I'm gonna remove this. We don't need date. And now the population growth is showing as a table. And we want to see what the table means. And we can expand this. And here you'll see expand now. You can expand this you can select all the columns that you want to see. Now, from this table, what actually we want to see? We want to see the rank? No. We want to see the country? No. We only want to see population growth rate. And when we do that, Power Query will ask you, do you want to use original columns as a prefix? And if you want, you can keep it. Otherwise, and then it will say population underscore growth. It's dot population growth rate. It would look like this. So you would see it has a prefix. I'm going to close that. I don't need to do that. So I generally don't keep it. Uncheck it. Click OK. Now it will only show population growth rate. Now we had two tables. Now we have only one matching table out there. So we merge this. Now this is merging means adding new columns, and appending means adding new rows. And it's very important because you should know what is difference between merge and append. Now we have all countries and their population growth rate along with their population. This is the power of merge and append. Now I'm going to close this one, and we are done here with this data. And you can close and load. So I'm going to close and load it. And it will refresh. Here we are. Now let's open another table. I'm going to pull up from the data tab, get data from file, from Excel. Let's see which file we want to do. Okay, so I'm going to pull up growth rates and click OK. Let's see what it contains. So we have country population and population growth rate. I think that's the same one that we just did. Okay, it has some more information. Okay, so let's pull them up and let's see what's in store for us. Let's this time I will directly go to transform data, and it will take us directly to the Power Query. And here it is, right. Now we have country population and population growth rate. Let's understand this. We have rank, we have country, we have date, population. Now, when you open the Power Query for the first time, the first thing you want to notice is that the columns, text column are on the left, numbers on the right, always. Understand the data first, because let's say I'm also looking at this data for the first time. And the lesser the columns, if the column is not required, just get rid of it, because it will ultimately put a load on the file, increase the size of the file. So better, because the Power Query we are using for big data, you have got thousands and thousands of rows. Column not required, throw it out, delete it. Simple. So we have a lot of data out there. About rank, ascendingly sort them. India and China. I think this is new population. Okay, growth rate. Let's take a look. Again, we have yeah. Why is this text? So transform data, detect data type. This one. The reason is same because for some reason Power Query reads minuses m dash. So replace values with minus. Detect. There it is. And this green line at the top tell me that everything is fine. Or you can go to View tab, click on column quality, and it will tell you how many are valid, error, or empty. And we can see at the top. Okay, so we have an opportunity here to show you how to merge more columns in. So we have countries and we have population growth rate. All of them looks correct to me. I don't see any problem out there. But we got all countries out there as well. We got population growth rate. And here we have population. So maybe this is a newer data. So we want to use this one. And in the population growth rate or the country population, this is, let's say this is a fact table. And this is a dimension table. Now we want to take the data from the fact table to this dimension table and pull the data out there. So let's do it for all of them. Hardly matters. We got country population out there, and we would need, let's say, now there are so many columns out there. I don't think we need so many columns. So what we want to do here is we go to the Home tab and then click on Choose Columns, and selecting this, whatever column you will select, we'll check. You will keep those. Others will automatically be removed. Now let's say I want to keep rank. Okay, country I need. Population I need. Date, I don't think I need date. Percentage of world population, okay. I don't need source. I need density, land area, migrants. I don't know. Do I need it? I don't know. So let's keep 3 or 4. Let's see. Urban. Click OK. Just to show you, all other columns will be gone. And it says removed other columns. And population growth rate, we have the population growth rate. Now we want to go the same thing. Merge queries. This time I'm not merging to as a new. I'm merging in this column only. And I'm going to merge with the country population. Where is this? Here it is. Country to country. And 230, all of them are matched. Wow, rarely happens. And click OK. And we got a table out there. Now, when you merge, it will also always show you as a table. And then you can click on the table, and then you can see other items here. But let's go back. We want to expand this, and we don't want an aggregate. We can choose an aggregate if we want to, as a sum or count or some formula type. Mostly required if you want to use the value of one column into a different column, but it's not the case with us. Now we want to be able to select whatever column we need. We don't need rank. We don't need country. Population we may need. And what is this? Percentage of fruit population. Okay. Population, and we can select some of these columns. And you can pick up anything that you want. I'm going to pick up a few of those just to show you. We have done that already, but just a kind of a repetition. And click OK, and it will be expanded. So now we have merged those columns here. And of course, I'm going to sort this by rank. Here it is. A lot of migrants, huh? Now over here, we have some items out there. Let's take a look at those. If we click on transform, now in the transform, at the far left, we see group by. If we want, we can group by all these columns. I can click on group by, and I want to maybe group by country. Name the column name. Let's keep it like this, and count rows. I can have a sum. I can have average, depending upon what we want. And we click OK, and now we have group by. Let's see. And over here we have use first word as we already doing that. Transpose will transpose. Let's say we have data out there in this. It will transpose the data from text to column to rows to columns or columns to rows. We don't want to do that. Reverse rows. And let's say I have data sorted out like this. I can reverse them. Now I have a data in the reverse order, like descendingly. So we can use descending or reverse. Count rows, we know that it will give you a count. how many rows are there. Then we have data type. It can be any data that you have. Remember, you can pick up, let Power Query automatically detect the data. You can rename it from here, replace the values or autofill. Now, let's say we want to pivot them. Over here, we have country. We want to pivot the columns here. I can click on pivot. And over here, we can click on population, pivot by population, and click OK. And now we have population growth rate, and all the other columns are there. It shows null. It shows pivoted column. And let's say I have, let me reverse that first. And I want to unpivot it. You can pivot them, you can unpivot them. Let's say I click on unpivot, and you have country-wise information out there. Let me reduce this data set so it will become more clear, more understandable to you. How about this one? Let's go to this data table out there, and let's reduce this to maybe top 30. We can see 30 rows. Keep rows. I can remove or keep top rows. Keep top 30 rows. Click OK. I've got a data reduced to top 30. And let's check this column quality. And you might say, okay, why do we see more 32? Because we got top 30 rows here. Right. Now I go to transform and unpivot columns. I select the column and let's click on unpivot other columns. Now we have country-wise attributes and their values unpivoted. And when we have the information in different columns, it is kind of a pivot that we see. And we have country-wise here, and we can click on pivot. And when I click on pivot by attribute, and here it is China, India. Now we have country names at the top. Or we can do a pivot by value. Now what do we see? Now we have values at the country at the top, and then we have the data kind of transposed in rows to columns. And I close the unpivoted. Let's click on and unpivot columns. Unpivot only selected column. Now we have only country-wise value here. Not helpful. Let's select this one. Unpivot columns. And now we have same, no difference. But if I click on unpivot other columns, it will unpivot all the other columns. It will open up all the columns. It will show you all details of all the other columns out there, like this here. We have China, we have India, and these all combine together to form the data that we see. Then we have move. We can move this column to the left, right, or to the beginning. Format, we want to change the format to all uppercase. Let's say these are the countries. I want to change them to all uppercase with the second. Capitalize each word. You have United Kingdom or United States, or you have a trim. You can trim them and you remove any leading space or trailing space. You can clean them. You can add prefix or suffix. Let's say you want to add prefix, and let's say this data is pop data, so you can write pop dash and click OK, and you'll have pop with prefix to all the country names. Same general idea for suffix. Now we have over here convert to list, and it's a list, give you a list of all these countries. And then we have in the transform split. We can't split this one, but let me see if we have something we can split. I can show you. Let's say, well, it will, but we need a delimiter, extractor, positions, lowercase to uppercase. We can certainly do that. I don't have a good example of this right here, right now, but I hope you got the sense. We can use a delimiter to separate the data in one cell to other cells. Same general idea for extract. We can extract the length of first vector text before delimiter or after delimiter. Now let's say we have numbers out there. We want to do some statistics. We want a sum, and it will give you a sum. Wow. Let's say we want something else about median. This is median. How about this median? This median. Median of population. This is the middle value. Unit in 100,000 and all that, like 8 crores. This is the middle number. Then we go to transform, and then we have other. We can count values or count distinct values. Distinct means it will count, return the number based on how many unique or non-null values are there in the selected column. Then we have a standard. We can add, multiply. Let's say we want to add. Let's say I want to add maybe 1 in there, right? Keep an eye on this one, and it will 1 will be added to all these numbers. Similarly, you can subtract, you can multiply. Let me subtract this one. 1. Okay, 1 will be subtracted from all these cells. And you can maybe use some scientific calculations, trigonometry, rounding information, depending on what kind of data you have, honestly. So if you have a date here, you can use some date, calculate the aging and other types. We had some dates, right? If I remember. I think I deleted that. But anyway, if you got the sense. Then we can add the columns. We can create custom columns. We can put some functions. Or this is the same format number, from number. View we have already covered. We have advanced editor. Now if we click on advanced editor, you'll see how this coding is happening. Now this is an entire language for Power Query, which is on which this works. But it starts with the link where the file is, and then it says, let's try to understand this. And it's pretty simple, pretty easy one here. And if you have an idea on the SQL, how SQL works, so you'll have from let, it says let source is equal to excel.workbook file, and then there's a path, then there's null, true, population growth rate table, source, and then table name, and then table, and then data, then change type, then sorted rows, change type 1, and all these applied steps. So now somebody's doing something in the background. And as a user, as a consumer, we don't have to worry about doing all these calculations or all these options out there. Power Query does that for us. Now here we see that clearly. You can see the line numbers. We can do the entire coding, and there's an entire language on this. We want to stay away from this one, and let's come out of it. And we can also see the query dependencies out there. This is pretty interesting. And let's take a look at this. Now we built different queries out there, and let me zoom in, fit to screen. Now here it says what is happening, where the file is coming, and what is connected to what. And if you see closely, we have, I'm not sure if you're able to see this easily, but let me zoom in a bit. Yeah, I can drag it. So this is a file from my computer, and we loaded different tables out there. And this is a chart if you want to give it to somebody. These are all the charts in Africa, population, Antarctica, and all these population tables combined together to form a single all continents. And we see that we did. And from population country to population growth, we created all countries and population loaded to the worksheet. And then another table, another query that we used, which loaded to the worksheet, and then they are just sitting idle. So there's nothing happened to that. So this is like all the query dependencies. Very, very useful. When you create multiple queries, you want to know which is depending on what. So click on this at the far right. You have this button to fit to the screen, or you can zoom in and zoom out. Layout you can change at the bottom or the top, bottom to top, or left to right here like this, or right to left like this. I think top to bottom is this. I like this one. Let's close that. You can take a picture of it if you want. You can send it to somebody or whatever makes you happy. And let's click on close. We are back to where we were. Then we have, let's say, so we covered add columns, transform. We already covered transform. Let's take a look at the home tab. Okay, allow me a minute. Okay, thank you for waiting. And okay, let's go back. So we are on this data out there. We have pulled up the growth rate. Now uh, let's try to add a custom column in the Power Query where we will be calculating the population, the expected population next year based on the current growth rate. So we have population here, we have population growth rate here, and we can calculate the directional population based on that. So it's just a way of showing you how we can do the calculations or create custom formulas within the Power Query. Although it is suggested you do it beforehand, before pulling the data into the Power Query. But if not done, we can easily do it in the Power Query itself. So we have our data out there. Let's insert a new column out there in this table. We'll go to add column. And let's create a custom column. And the custom column, we can also use a custom column from examples over here. We can select which column we want. How about population growth rate? Custom column. Each samples or control enter. Let's create a custom population here. Population, custom column. We can insert a custom column. Let's give it a name. I'm going to give it a name, let's say expected population. Next year. And here we want to write the M formula. Now there is an entire language for the M language, and which is beyond the scope of this course, but it's more or less very simple to the Excel formulas. So if you know the basic formulas of Excel, you are ready with that. You know the M language more or less. So the formula is very simple. Whatever the population is, we'll use the same population and add the growth rate. So we don't need to take the population, it's already there. We can use population, insert, and that should be multiplied with. And at the bottom here, it says that this formula is currently take as an error. So we want to fix that until it says, yeah, there is no error. So we want to type in 1 plus, and we want to add 1 to 1 plus the growth rate. And here it is, the growth rate. And then we close the parentheses, and it says no syntax error have been detected. Now, if this had been error, we would not, it would say that, okay, there are errors out there. And we can learn more about Power Query formulas. If we click on that, it will open a new website. I'm going to bring it that for you. Here it is. And it has Power Query M language. Now, there is entire list of all the functions that you can use. You can go through them and one by one, and you can see which functions you want to use. Here is a list of all the functions that you can cover in the Power Query that you can use. Almost entirely same as the Excel formulas. So if you know Excel formulas, if not done, I suggest you do the Excel formulas first. And I'm going to click on OK. And here is the new population as per the new growth rate. Wow, it's way too much. So we have done the calculation, or you can put in the manual rate as well. Or you can, and look at the formula at the top here in the formula bar. It's almost as similar as when we create a table, when we create a table and put the formulas, everything is pre-written as per the. So it says here, table add column, reverse rows 1, because we use the reverse rows. And it's the expected population next year. That's the column name, which is each population into 1 plus population growth rate. And this is plus. And if I click on over here, advanced editor, it will show me here, table auto column, reverse row, expected population, and 1. What is it? Multiply? Did I use multiply? I doubt I can see that very clearly. 1 plus population, yeah. And we click OK, done. We can make changes out there as well. Let's say if I want to make changes, now this one, I expect the population to reduce. So what I can do, I can go to advanced editor, and I can, instead of plus, I can put in minus and keep an eye. See, and I click done, and it will automatically reduce. So you can do the calculation there as well. So I'm going to put in 1 plus. You can do it here as well or in the formula bar, either ways, whatever makes you happy. So we have done the calculation of it. So the population containing this current population and the growth rate is the column containing the growth rate as a decimal. We apply that, and now we can see the result, and we can simply go back to the home tab and we can close and load. I'm going to put a close and load here. Keep an eye on this one. And it will automatically try to, not this one. Okay, let me close this one. Where is it coming from? Let me close this first. So we have calculated the new population. Now this is just a one way of doing the manual calculations in the Power Query. Now once it's done, you have actually learned how to clean the data. You have learned about how to do the transformations. Power Query quickly allows you to import the data from various sources, such as Excel files, CSVs, databases, even web pages. We saw that. We can simply go to get data, and we can combine different. We can pull the data from databases and or other servers that you want. And once you load the Power Query, it helps you to actually to clean up the data. So Power Query provides several tools that we learned to pay for data cleaning. We starting with the duplicate entry and removing unnecessary rows using a row as header. I've got another table out there. So let's pull up another table from Excel file. I'm going to pull up median age, and I'm going to import that. And now these are not tables, and we can see that these are only the list, and we can see very raw data out there. We got countries, maybe that we need. Download, we don't need that one. Footnotes, we don't need. Settings, we don't need. And this is version, we don't need. We only need countries out there. So we can simply click on load, and it will load the data. Oh, wow, so much of issues out there. So let's quickly dive into Power Query, and I'm going to click on Launch Power Query Editor. So Power Query is open. I'm going to bring that up here on the screen here, and here we see. So Power Query is loaded. I'm going to bring up on the screen here. Here we see that. Here we go. And we have, let me pull it a little here. Yeah, this should be good. So we see columns, column names, and we have different column names that we can see. Of course, I'm going to move it a little up so we can see that. And we have columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so many columns out there. The first thing that we want to do is we want to check for, I'm going to minimize it so we can see the full data. It's a huge data out there. The first thing, obviously, the first order of business is to first use first row as headers. Here we go. Now, it says median age. Is it median age? These are country names. This is 1950, in 1955, 56, 65, 70. These are column headers out there. Different years. And you see this stacked line, and it's a good way. I've been waiting for such kind of a data to show you what are the errors out there. And we see a lot of challenges in this. Let's take a look at this deeply. We go to view, and let's see column quality. We got 99%, 1% empty, less than 1% empty. And here we have different errors. Emptiness, we got so much of empty data. No errors though. How about column distribution? 216 distinct, 215 unique. Unique means they appear only once. And column profile, here we are. And all of these information are good to view, and you can take your call based on these. And all the numbers are on the right. Now, whatever is the empty, which means they don't have a data out there. Now, this is 100% empty. And this is, I think it's a blank column. We don't need that. We can right click and remove it. And now 1% empty, 1% empty. We can simply hover my mouse over here, and we can simply click on remove empty. If it's empty, it's of no use. So it has removed all the empty. Now we see all the green bars, stacked bars right across, which means that there is no error. Everything is 100% valid. Uncheck it. Now, this is not a median age. Maybe you want to rename it to country. I can simply type in, we can type in country name. and we have years out there. These are the median ages, and for different years, 1950 to 2050. Wow, 23 years the median age. Now you might see that how this data will be helpful. Well, if you are using Power Query in a Power BI, this data would be helpful to create several visualizations. And we can do the same thing in Excel as well. After cleaning up the data super fast, we can merge, we can append. Let's say I have some of the query here. We have population growth rate. We have all countries and population. Now maybe I want to show the median age for one of the year. Let's say what will be the median age. Let's say which is the closest one, 2015, 2020, 2025. So median age as on 2025. So population growth rate, all countries population. So let's do what we would do, merge or append. We will do, you guessed it right, we will do merge, not append, because we have different column names. We want to add more columns here. So I'm going to go to Home tab, merge queries. And this time I'm going to click on merge query and new. Don't want to spell this one. And here it is, all countries and population. And I'm going to merge it with countries table. Here it is. And match country to country. And it says the selection matches 29 of 30 rows. All from first, matching from second. Now this is a very excellent example. Now we can see, we'll be doing it momentarily, all of those joins. Let's see, we'll do all the joins. So let's see. So there here we have 29, 30 rows in the first table, and we have a lot of them in the table 2. Now what do we get? And I'm going to click on OK. And this is what we're using, left outer, all from first, matching from second. And I'm going to click on OK. And we have merge one. And I'm going to rename it to left outer. So you can remember that. And we have a tables here. I can maybe need about 20, 25, and 20, 30. And click OK. Now I have the median ages within this table. Now this is left outer. We only get to see what we have the matching here. Now I'm going to merge again. Merge queries as new. And again, same countries table. Match this by this. And we want to do not left outer, but right outer. And this is going to match all from second, but the matching results from the first one. Very interesting to see. I'm going to click on OK and see the result. This is going to help you understand the difference between different joins, in which is, as an analyst, as a data analyst, as an inspiring data scientist, data analyst, this joins is your key life. And there will be a lot of questions in your interviews about joins, different kind of joins, which join you will use when, what kind of join is required. You have something in column A, something in table A, something in table B. As an aspiring data analyst and data scientist, these joins are, you need to understand this conceptually. So I'm going to click OK and see. And I'm going to rename it to right, not right. What was that? Right outer, right inner? Let me see. Right outer. So I'm going to rename it to right outer. OUTER. Now over here, let me sort them by ascendingly. And here as well. We have one of the null value. We don't need that. We can remove rows, remove top row, top one row. We also have one. Okay, sorry. Let me undo that. Now, why we have a null here? And do we have null here? We don't have a null here. Now, this is showing whatever matched in the first column. This is showing whatever matched in the second column. And over here, we have a null value here. And I'm going to sort it. So, of course, sort is ascendingly. So one we have in China, India. And this one, we don't need that, because it was there in the first one. And in the population country, in the countries, we would have null. Do we have null? We should not have null here. Yeah, and population, all countries and population, we don't have. And right outer shows that. let's get rid of this one. Remove top row, remove top one row. And I'm going to sort this ascendingly. And you see what's happening here. It is showing you for whatever matched in the right. Now we want to merge one more one. Merge queries as new. And now we want to merge them as not with right outer. Okay, I think I picked up the wrong table. So let me close that one. Let me do it one more time. I actually selected left outer, so that was a problem. Yeah, let's delete that one and let's go to countries table. Let's keep this data highlighted and merge queries as new. Yeah, countries and all population and country, all countries and population. Yeah, this is the one. And country to country, right outer. This will match 29 rows. I'm doing it again. I didn't remember whether it was right or wrong, but here we have the null value again, one more time. Yeah, and I'm going to rename it to right outer. Okay, let's go back to, and let me rename this. It's causing a great confusion to me. So this one is median age. Yeah, and I'm going to merge queries as new. This one with all countries and population. And this time I'm going to use full outer, all rows from both. Now let's see what we get. And full outer. And I'm going to rename it to full outer. And now you see, how many rows do we have? Count rows, 216. But we would only get data for those where we have over here all countries and population. And here we are. Let's say we want population and percentage of all population or population growth rate. And we will only get the data of the matching values, not for others. And similarly over here, we will get data for population percentage of all population growth for the matching ones. Let me select all countries and population this time. It's easy like this. And I'm going to select on merge queries as new. This time, I'm going to select new merge with the median age, country to country. And I'm going to select here inner only matching rows. And here we are. Now it shows only the tables that are matching, only the rows that are matching. So this is inner join. And you might say, okay, all of them look the same, but no, all of them are entirely different. And you can select maybe 9, 20, 25, and 20, 30. Their median age. And you can do it in either order, that doesn't make any difference. And I'm gonna rank this sort ascendingly. We would have that. All country and population, merge queries as new. And now we will do anti with median age. This is interesting. Left anti. Only rows from, exclude rows from, and over here, let's see. Rows from only in first. This one. This one matches only in first. And this is, I'm gonna rename, sorry, left anti. Why we have only one row here? Because what does left anti say? A left anti join, which table? Countries and population with median age here and left anti. So what is left anti? A left anti join is a type of join operation used in data processing and querying. Now it returns all the rows from the left table, all the rows from the left table that we have. Here is the left table that do not have corresponding match in the right table, which the name of the country. Let's say we have a name of a country here, ABCD. We don't have ABCD here in country name, so that will only be shown. it filters out rows from the left table that have matches in the right table. So if the name matches, it will not show. It will only show you that doesn't match. And right, similarly, we want to merge them as new. Did we? So all countries and population to median age. And I'm going to do here right and tie. Rows only from second, which do not match. Right. So when I click OK, what do I see? I would see a lot of rows here. It returns all the rows from the right table that do not have a corresponding value in the left table. And I'm going to click on OK. And here it is, null. All of those are there. I'm going to put it, rename to left, actually, not let. And here it is, right and tie. And you might say, where do I see null? I don't see null here. But let's go to all content population. Do we have a null here? I don't see null here. Median age, do we see null here? Should have. Although it doesn't see here. But there would be one country which doesn't match here. So anyway, so I hope you got the sense here what all these different kind of joins mean and how they can be resolved. Understanding of these, let me fix that. Joins are at most important. There will be, trust me, there will be several questions in your interviews regarding left anti-join or right anti-join or left outer. Which one is mostly used? Left outer is obviously mostly used. It's most common, left outer. When you have one to many or many to one relationships, how do we handle those? So over here, we have loaded all the data. We covered almost all the different parameters that are required to handle the Power Queries or the data, large data, especially used for the big data. Now we have come to an end of the Power Query course. Let's take a moment to recap and reflect on everything what we've covered. Throughout the course, we worked on the practical examples such as sample data of country, population, and growth. We demonstrated how to apply Power Query techniques to real-world data, from importing and cleaning data to performing advanced transformations, creating custom columns. These practical applications help solidify your understanding and give you confidence to apply Power Query to your own projects, be it any kind of a data, HR kind of data, financial data, sales data. Numbers will always be numbers, text will always be text. As a final thought, as we conclude this course, I encourage you to continue exploring and experimenting with Power Query. The skills you have learned here are just the beginning. Power Query is a very powerful tool with vast array of features. It's an ocean of opportunities. And the more you use it, the more proficient you will become. Remember, the key to mastering Power Query is practice. And if you encounter any challenge or need support after this course, don't hesitate to reach out. Keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, have fun with Power Query. Data is a powerful asset, and with the right tools and skills, you can unlock its full potential. Thank you and happy querying.